Hello and welcome to episode 116 of the Gamers of Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other spark on the pod. It's the gaming's Yorkshire pudding. I can't stop saying that. It's Steve Carter.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? You all right?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad. How are you?
Good, yeah. Very good, very good. Reporting from a cold and snowy Yorkshire. I don't know how the weather is down south, but we've seemed to have ground to a halt in the north. An impromptu snow blizzard has kind of put Leeds into meltdown. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. You know, tiny little bit of snow on the roads and people stop learning how to drive and panic and the country just comes to a halt. So I mean, to be fair, where we live, it's not been bad, but on the hills part of Yorkshire, I know it has been quite bad. But yesterday, when we got it, I know some people took 3 hours to get home from work last night. Wow. So, I mean, I was fine. I was looking on Facebook when I got home. I'd managed to get home, get changed, go to the gym for about an hour, get home, have something to eat, and be on Facebook, and people are literally walking through the door after they'd set off home from work. I'm like, it's fine here. I'm all right. So, yeah, and people phoning in about snow days today, and I've driven home this afternoon from work, and there's nothing on the road. So, the climate changes up here. It's really, really weird. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice and cold. Like peak snow season, January, February up north. So yeah, interesting times.
That's so cool. We haven't had any of it down south. It's a little bit chilly. But that's about it.
I'd be interested to see where the snow cut-off is. Like, at what point north and south it stops.
It's so the M25. It just stops snow.
Yeah.
It's
like
the M25 stops everything.
Yeah, it's like when we went to Cornwall for New Year. They literally said we don't get any snow here, ever.
Wow.
And it was like 2 degrees at home the day we set off. And then when we got down there, it was like 13, 14 degrees. So it's like literally, it feels like it's tropical. I know obviously that the coast, so you've got the wind and what have you, but if you're inland, it was fine. So yeah, maybe the M25, maybe it's like the M25 barrier. That's the wall, yes. As it were. That's where it starts and stops. That's when you know you're north. Truly north, anyway.
There's that big toasty barrier that wraps around the south.
Yeah.
But that's just really bizarre. Yeah, no, I did see this morning that there was rumours that we would be getting kind of snow all over. I think we were all an amber warning. But my problem is I actually work from home for like 3 days a week, so I don't get snow days. There's no unless it cuts off power. You know, I have no such thing as a snow day.
No, but if it did that, though, you wouldn't be able to do anything. That would be the worst snow day, because the artist, you can't get to work, but if you've got no power and you work from home, what are you meant to do? Like, literally
just play your Switch until that power runs out.
For the 3.5, 4 hours it runs out.
And then that's it, it's all over. Yeah. I do have a portable battery that I always keep charged, so we could potentially just charge 2 Switches and that's it.
Yeah, that'll be about it. But
don't worry about heating or kettles or anything like that.
Who needs heating when you've got a Switch, when you've got Mario in your life? Who needs that?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a snow day, ever.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
No.
I've had a couple before we work from home, you know, kind of going in, because the trains just stop working if there's a bit of snow, a bit of leaves. You know, they used to say that I've had that before before we could actually work from home. There was a couple of times I was like, nope, can't get in.
Yeah, it's like the lamest excuse ever. Oh, there's leaves on the track.
Yes.
It's like, what? It's a train. I know it's because of traction and wheel spin, but it's just such a lame excuse, isn't it? Like, no, leaves on track. No, not happening.
Wrong kind of rain. That's the worst one. Wrong kind of rain.
Torrential downpour.
So apart from kind of laughing at people who are stuck in the snow, what have you been up to since we last chatted?
Not a lot, really. As I said, been the sort of pre-show ramble. I've not done much gaming since after Christmas. I kind of had a little bit of a sort of a break in January, so I've been dipping in and out of the Switch a little bit. But in terms of sort of my console playing, not done a lot really. Sent BioShock and Wolfenstein back to Boomerang. Did that at the start of this week to get some new games in. BioShock, I'd love it, but it's just going to have to be something that I play again when I've got little bit less of a backlog to go on. And Wolfenstein, I still can't make my mind up about it, so they've gone back. But not a lot of gaming really. Mainly just been catching up with reading in my spare time, making sure I've got the Kindle charged and using that, getting back into that. And bizarrely, most of my time on an evening has been spent watching war documentaries. I've actually got into a Hunting Hitler series at the minute.
Oh, wow.
I found that on Catch Up on Sky, and it's literally just a series about a bunch of guys who were just seeing if it was true whether Hitler actually committed suicide at the end of the Second World War, and I've just been watching that every night. So that's been taking up most of my evenings. As I'm a bit of a World War II geek. Did that at history at A level, so I kind of get into that. But yeah, it's quite interesting, you know. I mean, even Anna, she usually zones out with that sort of stuff when I'm watching on TV. Like, are you watching this again? But even she kind of got a little bit hooked on it. She's like, this is really interesting. I'm like, yeah, you see, it's not all boring. So it was interesting to see what they actually do, and see if he actually did commit suicide or if he was still alive and kicking at the end of the Second World War. So it's interesting. They're trying in Spain, the Canary Islands, Argentina. There's all sorts of reports that he was actually sighted after the Second World War, after he was allegedly found dead in his bunker. So yeah, it's quite interesting, really. But need to get back on the gaming. Gaming needs to happen. So hopefully, once we've got to the bottom whether Hitler's dead or alive, then we can get back to gaming. What about
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
But where are you watching? Where are you watching that? Is that Netflix? Is that a Netflix show, or is that is it Sky?
Sky?
Okay.
Yeah, it's on catch up. So we got Sky Q. So it was on one of their sort of on-demand services, and every time you watch an episode, when you get in sort of halfway through, it automatically starts downloading the next episode.
Yes.
So I've literally just been getting to it, so I just watch the next one, and the next one's straight on, and just binge watch it, and just... I'd probably watch it from start to finish again, to be honest with you, because, like I say, I just love that sort of part of history. The sort of World War II era, Britain, America, Germany, Russia, that sort of thing. So, yeah, so it's been quite good.
That's fantastic. That's superb. That's superb.
Yeah. So, what about yourself? What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Well, I've kicked my kind of 52 movies in 2018 off in kind of a good start, a bit of a dark start this year, because as you know, kind of any listener to the show knows that every year I try to watch new movies. So I try to, as much as, and one of the things I am doing is watching old movies again, but I try to watch as many kind of new movies as I can. So I do a 52 movies in that year, and at the moment I found a really good app that's called Letterboxd, and it's kind of spelt Letterboxd but without the E, similar to the app you were telling me just off air about rating beer. So So the movies that I've watched so far this year, I watched Baby Driver because I never saw that at the cinema. So I watched that. I think I watched that on New Year's Day. I sat and watched Baby Driver, and I've actually watched that twice now because I just think it's such a fantastic movie. But I've also watched Get Out, which is on Sky now. And Get Out is just it's so good. It's a thriller. It's an amazing movie. To talk about it is to spoil it, but it's basically, yeah, I think I should it's a great movie. It's on Sky. Yeah, exactly, because you start getting into it and you instantly kind of just start giving away kind of plot points, but it's such a superb movie. It's just like this guy kind of, he goes back to his girlfriend's house. And he's a black guy, and the family is a white family, and they kind of go back and all of the kind of people that are around the house, there's about kind of 3 or 4 kind of black people there, and they just start acting very strange, and they're acting very funny, very kind of weird, and you kind of figure out kind of what's happening through this plot, and it's just, I just sat there, and I don't think Nicola and I just kind of moved when we were watching it. It was just so interesting. It was such a great movie. So it's not, but it's on Sky at the moment. It's kind of rattling around. I like that, because if I haven't watched a movie like at the cinema, I sometimes like to kind of watch it on Sky Cinema, so I can almost get value for my buck from my Sky subscription. So I've watched Get Out, and I've also watched a movie, again, like I say, both of these movies have been quite dark. I watched a movie called Gerald's Game. And Gerald's Game is on Netflix, and that's a weird movie, but a fantastic movie. It's got some fantastic performances. It's basically there's probably about 2 people in the movie, and this couple are kind of reconnecting. So they go up to this hut. They go up to their house up in the woods, and there's no one around, and so they're trying to kind of reconnect. And the guy kind of handcuffs his wife to the bed, and then so the premise is when he does this, kind of getting it on and stuff, and then he has a heart attack. And then and so she's chained to the bed. He's dead on the floor, and the rest is just like in her mind. So it's all being played out in her mind, like of what's happening. And it's a movie that it was so funny. I went to bed and it was about 11:30 and I couldn't sleep. I was a little bit restless. So I thought, I'll watch a movie. And I was like, I know, I really fancied Gerald's Game when it was on Netflix last year. So I started watching it. Wrong thing to do, because this whole movie is set in a bedroom and some weird, like, kind of disturbing stuff happens. And I just sat there after watching this movie. It's probably about 1 o'clock in the morning thinking, why did I watch that? Why didn't I watch Power Rangers instead?
It's not a bedtime movie.
It's not a bedtime movie. Neither of those movies should be consumed before bedtime. But still, kind of both good movies, different movies, but kind of the performance that the lead actress, Carla Giuliani, she is just fantastic. Her performance in that movie is just, she plays two characters. She plays the person who's tied to the bed, and she also plays the person who's in her head, so her in her head, and the back and forth between the two of them is just absolutely fantastic. So they are the kind of movies. The next movie I think for me is the 3 Billboards movie, which we're going to watch at the weekend.
Yeah, what's that about? Like, I've seen it advertised and I've seen all the reviews are raving about it. Like, is it literally the clues in the title sort of thing? Like, what's the whole situation with that one?
Well, the premise of the 3 Billboards is it's a true story, and I think what happens is it's a small town in Missouri, I believe. I think it's the name is in the title, and it's like 3 billboards outside. And I can't remember what the town's name is. But so it's basically based on a true story where a girl was either abducted or murdered, and the police aren't doing anything. And there's billboards outside this town that the parents basically buy, and then they just start advertising that the police are not doing anything for this, and it's so right. It looks like it could be uplifting, dark, and kind of thought-provoking. So we're going to go and watch that on Saturday. I'm quite looking forward to it.
Sounds quite. I must admit, like when I saw the trailer, I mean, I didn't know it was based on a true story, but the way you've said it there, it sounds like it could, like you say, be sort of a mixed bag for emotions, really, doesn't it? Really, I mean, things that are based on true stories, I prefer that sometimes because it's got some sort of grounding in it. It gives them they can have a bit of creative license, but it at least gives them something to work with. But yeah, it's definitely something that I've sort of been meaning to read up on and research a little bit more. But I'd be interested to see what you actually think about it when you've seen it then.
Indeed, and it's because, like I say, I'm going to see it on Saturday. Can't wait. It was kind of a toss up between that and The Post, both true stories. You can tell it's Oscar season because they're really kind of those kind of performance piece movies are out at the cinema. So it was either a toss up between that or The Post, but we decided to go to that one. We'll watch The Post later. So that's kind of what they're my 52 movies in 2018 is off to a good start. And I've also been watching. We've decided that we are watching. I kind of took this from another podcast that where they're watching all 17 Marvel movies in build-up to Infinity War. Wow. So you basically watch one a week, and if you watch one a week starting from last week, then it leads perfectly into Infinity War. The only one that will be out of sync will be Black Panther, because that comes out on February 16th, and that obviously should be at the end. But everything else, because by the time you get to Thor Ragnarok, that should be out on Blu-ray or digital download. So you watch one a week. So I've set up that Letterboxd app that I have. I've set myself up a list, which is the countdown to Infinity War. So at the moment, we've watched Iron Man and Incredible Hulk. So we're due to watch Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is next up, and we're going to watch that on Sunday.
So if you watch the earlier Marvel movies, like they're going to be paling in comparison, aren't they? Like the earlier ones, the standard's going to be so much different now.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not the biggest of Iron Man fans, but I've watched those movies, and it's not like Hulk and that sort of thing. But I mean, obviously, it was before Marvel became like the sort of big unit that it is now. But it'd be interesting to go back and watch them all just to see the difference between now and then, to see what they were like beforehand, because they came out when sort of comic books and sort of being that sort of nerdy stuff was not really cool, isn't it? Well, so we were talking maybe how long ago now? Like 10 years or more now?
10 years ago, yeah. 10 years ago we had Iron Man.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see how things have changed in like over 10 years now. Like,
yes,
when I was 16 when Iron Man came out. That's a scary thought. That's a scary thought. And if I think when I was at school, like if I wanted to say that all the stuff that I'm into now, when I was back at school, like that wouldn't have flown back then. Like 10 years ago, that sort of thing wouldn't have, wouldn't have been acceptable to walking around in the Marvel hoodies and the shirts and what have you nowadays. It's a massive turnaround for them, really, to make it more sort of sociably acceptable or a more sort of wider medium. So I think there's hats off to them in some respect, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I mean, Iron Man stands up a bit still. I still say that one of my favourite shots in Iron Man is that bit where he lands down in that the country that kidnapped him at the start, and he blows up a tank and he just fires the rocket, and then he starts to walk away. The way that scene was shot is just incredible, and every time it gets me every time, and I'm just like, I just love that so much. Incredible Hulk. Ed Norton was a great Bruce Banner. He was a really good Bruce Banner, but the Hulk was good. The Hulk was kind of modelled after one of the comic books, but the Hulk that we've got now and Mark Ruffalo that we've got now are far better Hulk. And it's quite nice because even right at the start, the very first Iron Man, you had Nick Fury. Right at the end, the after credits, straight off the bat, they went into these after credits. You got Nick Fury saying, "I'm putting together a team." In the Incredible Hulk, you then have Tony Stark coming in and talking to General Ross, and General Ross appears later on. He appears back in what one does he in Civil War? So he comes back. So it's really good to see the continuity. Apart from Rhodey has changed in Iron Man, the character who played Rhodey, because it's now Don Cheadle. Apart from those kind of changing, it's pretty consistent all the way through. So it's really cool. So like I said, we've got Iron Man 2 next, then we've got Thor, and then we've got the Captain America, and then it's the Avengers. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good 17 weeks.
Yeah, it's good how they've kept to that plan, though, isn't it? Because, like you say, they clearly had that plan from day one. Like you say, at the end of Iron Man, it's always been, this is what we're aiming for. And I think, like say, 10 years ago, that probably seemed quite ambitious. But now, it's like the sky's the limit now, really, with Marvel, isn't it? Like you say, if you think of all these superheroes or villains that are getting their own movies that you'd never think could have their own movies now, it's like anyone that they can spin a full movie out of, they'll do it. I mean, Black Panther, in all honesty, I didn't really know about Black Panther until these sort of movies came out. So, to be seeing the smaller sort of characters out there getting sort of exposure through movies, it's brilliant. I mean, I'll watch any sort of superhero movie. I'm all over it, like you are. Even sort of maybe not sort of as much in love with Batman versus Superman as you were, but any sort of superhero movie, I will be all over it. I'll give it a shot. And I'll watch it. So it's good to see such a variety now.
Yes,
that there probably wasn't a few years back.
Exactly. If when I was 16, you were told me that I would be watching a Guardians of the Galaxy and an Ant-Man movie, I would have just laughed as a nerd I was.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody had an idea this was happening, did they? Or Star Wars was coming back. 10 years ago, that was pretty much it. We think it was bound to just animation series and cheap video game tie-ins, but to see Star Wars back in, like they say, it was like being back in old school, wasn't it? Like Mario came back last year, Star Wars came back last year, so all these things that came back in 2017, it was like going back sort of 20 years or whatever it was. So yeah, it's a good year.
Exactly, absolutely. And then finally, before we get into what we've been playing, I have also been reading some comic books. I've been jumping into, so on Sunday, I decided that I wouldn't be playing games in the morning. I just wanted to, I've got a bit of a backlog when it's coming to my comic books, and there's a series that I'm desperate to read, which is called White Knight, and it's by a chap called Sean Murphy. He does scripting, and he writes it, and he also draws this White Knight comic book, and I think there's 8 issues, and we're about 4 or 5 in at the moment, and it's amazing. This is just such a offshoot of the Batman story. It's kind of not set in any. The great thing about these, you have the storyline of Batman running through the New 52, but then you have these other just kind of stories that just drop in. And the premise of White Knight is that basically right at the start, Batman catches a Joker. It's a classic kind of Joker-Batman chase right at the start, and they even make reference to it, going, come on, you want to jump on the roof, destroy some buildings, do all of this. And then so Batman catches the Joker, and they're in this factory, and so Batman starts to punch the Joker, and the Joker's goading him, and he punches him to submission. And then for some reason the Joker says, you're trying to fix me, maybe these pills would help. And Batman starts to pour these pills into the Joker's mouth, and this is caught on a camera, so someone catches this on camera. then does the normal kind of social media thing, and then Batman is now kind of taken in. He's like, so GCPD are coming under pressure that they shouldn't be backing someone like this, and the Joker then gets fixed and he becomes Jack Napier again. And it's basically, Joker's almost the good guy, but you know that he's just doing this to kind of just get at Batman. But at the same time, he's a little bit depressed because Batman is now kind of out of action because of what he's done. And it's just such an amazing comic book. And I'm just reading this at every episode, every issue. It's just amazing. They had this shot of the Joker. There was this panel of the Joker's lair, and it basically just had the Joker laying on a bed, and his entire room, pretty much like my bedroom when I was 14, was just covered in Batman stuff. You know, there was just like paraphernalia from everything, and if as nerdy as I was when I was looking at this panel, you could see like there was the tumbler from Batman versus Superman, there was, you know, the tumbler from the Dark Knight, you know, there was all these Batman posters, the Prince Batman poster, there was all of that sort of stuff in his room, and it was just it's such an amazing comic book, and the art is just really cool. So it's like White Knight, and I'm just, so like I say, I think I read issue 1 to 4 on Sunday, and it's incredible. It's really good.
So I'm not a massive comic book fan, but you know, I kind of got into them a little bit after, you know, you sent me the Batman. I can't remember the All-Star Batman and Robin that you sent up to me.
Yes.
That was kind of a different spin on Batman, and from what you're telling me, that sounds the same, because that's not really been done before, has it? You know, in terms of Batman gets captured because of what he's doing to Joker. Even for somebody who's not a massive comic book fan, that sounds like something that I would get into. What do you actually read them on? Do you read them on the phone then, or are you tablet, or do you actually have them physical comic books?
No, I read them on my iPad.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I think about when the iPad came out. So however long the iPads have come out, as the Comixology, DC Comics, Marvel, when they started to cross over to digital, because what they did at the start was they would just say, here's a random comic, but now they do day and date digital comics. So I now read all of my comics digital, so my collection has pretty much stopped. You know, I've got 20 odd boxes of comics, and my collection's now stopped now because I'm all digital, which is fantastic, because like when I went on holiday over Christmas, I just downloaded Watchmen and just read Watchmen. You know, I don't have to take that graphic novel on the train or plane with me. I can just download it straight to my iPad, and it's just so cool. I love having digital comics just because it's like, World War Hulk, I remember that, I've got that on, so I just download it, and then it's there, and it's just really cool.
Yeah. And how much sort of cost wise are they these days? Like, what sort of price are they set at?
They're about the same as if I go into the Marvel app. I'm just going into Marvel app now. If I go to just added, come on. So about $3.99.
That's not too bad then, is it? And how long are they sort of page wise? Like, are they sort of like just 5-10 minute read, or are they got some staying time? No,
I mean your average comic is about 25 pages.
Right. Okay.
So it's you know, it's always but there's just so many, you know, there's so many comics to read at the moment. There's lots of Star Wars ones. Marvel are doing really cool Star Wars, but I really wanted to just kind of make a dent into my comic backlog. White Knight is just highly recommended.
Yeah, suppose we were travelling as well quite frequently. It's good to have on the train as well, I suppose, isn't it?
Indeed. Like I say, I in my bag, I'm carrying around a games console, my comic book library, you know, some movies. It's awesome. You know, I absolutely love it.
Everything digital that you could dream of. Exactly.
So yes, so that's kind of catching up on kind of what we've been doing. So Steve, what have you been playing this week?
So as I said in the intro, not a lot of gaming's happened, but I'm still playing LA Noir on the Switch. I'm still hooked on that. You know, it's still getting me, so I'm probably still sinking probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half every night on it. You know, just sitting back and maybe watching some TV, or when I can't get that time on the TV, just sit with it in handheld mode. I barely dock the Switch these days. You know, I barely ever have it hooked up to the TV. I just play it handheld. So I'm just finding just a spare hour, just going back to LA Noir, slowly picking away at it, because I don't feel like I want to rush it. It's it's the full package. So as I mentioned before, it's got all the DLC, all the add-ons from beforehand. I'm at the second crime desk still, but I'm just enjoying playing it back. So it's been that long since I've played it. I remember bits and bats about it, but not enough to just play it without concentrating and go, I need to do this, and this, because it has changed a little bit, and obviously you want to get as many answers and to your questions right as possible to get the best scores on your cases. So yeah, that's taking still most of my gaming time.
Right.
Over the weekend, I picked up Shadow of War. So I bought that with a voucher from a game that I had after Christmas. So that was on offer for $34.99 at Game. So after my voucher, I only paid $4.99 for it.
Wow.
So that's installed, ready to go, but not touched it yet. So it's installed on the PS4, ready to go. But I've not actually jumped on board yet, because I don't want to kind of start playing it and then get halfway through and just abandon it. So I'm trying to maybe put LA Noir down for a little while. Maybe this weekend, if we've got a bit of spare time, whether we can start it properly. So I'm not just starting it for half an hour and then starting afresh again. So, but I've only heard good things about it. I know it was kind of part of the loot drop controversy, microtransaction business, but I'll see past that, because I like Lord of the Rings. Shadow of Mordor was a great game. Very, very underrated. It kind of got cast aside as a cheap Assassin's Creed, which, it borrowed some assets, but still, it was kind of Assassin's Creed set in Tolkien's universe, set in Middle Earth. So I'm happy with that. We'll see how it goes. So hopefully, if I'm on next week or the week after, I'll have sunk some time into it, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Yeah, it is you're right, it is kind of a mixture of kind of Assassin's Creed and Batman as well, isn't it? It's kind of like the two kind of combined, but then Assassin's Creed is a bit Batman-y and Batman's a bit Assassin's Creed-y. So that's kind of all sharing from each other. Yeah,
and that's fine. I don't mind games that share things, because if like the combat from the Batman games, the Arkham games, that was refined. I know they've changed the combat in the latest Assassin's Creed, but I don't mind people borrowing things, because at the end of the day, why change things? If they work, rebrand them. I mean, I know Ubisoft do kind of rinse the same sort of things in between, between so Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, and they're all in the same universe. But I know they do borrow quite heavily from themselves. But yeah, why not? If it works, why not?
Absolutely. So what are you playing that on?
PS4 it will be. So it will be on PS4. So I had a choice between Xbox One and PS4, and I purposely bought it on PS4 because I've not used it for so long now. I had it for Wolfenstein, but when I've played Wolfenstein again, that was probably the first time I used it in maybe 3 or 4 months. My console of choice has been the Xbox recently. The only sort of usage it has had is from the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, and we've got that on PS4, obviously, because it's only on PS4. So she's been just flitting between that every now and again. So, but I don't know what it is. I've just tended to lean towards the Xbox more. I think it might just be because the Xbox gives you more in terms of the Games of Gold these days. The games availability from there. The Games of Gold service seems to be a lot better than the PSN, and I don't actually have an active PSN subscription at the moment. Right. And if I was going to play online, it would be with the Xbox, because most people I would play online with would be on the Xbox anyway. So, I don't know. It's not a case of I don't like it. It's just I think the Xbox just offers me a little bit more. But I wouldn't want to necessarily sell the PS4 to miss out on the exclusive stuff. So,
yes.
I like to have them all. I like to be greedy.
Indeed, but like you say, the same here. I kind of tend to lean more towards the Xbox. Xbox One, but I'm keeping hold of a PS4 because I just want those exclusives, and Sony are doing really well with those exclusives at the moment. I'm playing a game at the moment. I'm playing Assassin's Creed, but once I've done with Assassin's Creed, and kind of, I guess, after Monster Hunter, or while I'm waiting for Monster Hunter, I'm going to jump into Horizon, because for me, that Horizon Zero Dawn is that game that we was talking about it on our Game of the Year, and it's just, I need to play that game. I have to so what I'm going to do, I haven't touched Zelda in a while, so I just need to. But saying that, Assassin's Creed is kind of one of those games where I'm walking up to a hill and I'm just climbing it. I'm just climbing. So it's kind of maybe try and find something like maybe Monster Hunter will be that thing that like a palate cleanse between Assassin's Creed and Horizon. But yeah, no, it's good to be to have that luxury of having kind of all of the consoles, because you can just then play all of the exclusive ones, wherever your allegiance is, whether it's PlayStation, whether you play those third parties. It's quite nice to have that other one just so you can play those first party titles.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, just alone, sort of like just having Uncharted available on the PS4, if I didn't have that, I'd feel like I'm missing out, because I love that series. So, like you say, you could argue and get involved in many a fanboy argument about which console provider has best sort of exclusive IPs. But if you could have both, the best of both worlds, I don't see why you wouldn't. Why you'd nail your flag to the mast and preach Microsoft or Sony. You just don't get anything out of it. So if for me, I've looked at it before and thought I could sell it, but what would I put it towards? I'd end up wasting the money. The only thing that I could think about doing is upgrading it to an Xbox One X, but at the minute it's pointless anyway, because I don't have a 4K telly. So, it's pointless in upgrading at the moment. I might as well hold off, get the 4K TV first, and then get either a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, whichever I choose to get, and then just take it from there. So, but yeah, how's Assassin's Creed anyway? How's that?
Assassin's Creed is awesome. I'm really enjoying it. So I'll probably put about 4 or 5 hours into it at the moment, but I'm just kind of leveling up. I'm taking my time. I'm doing some side quests. I'm now, I don't know if you listened to last week, but I made a revelation that I didn't really listen to a lot of game soundtracks.
Yeah, so, I heard that. I meant to send you a message like gaming confessions, like
yes. It's like I listen to a podcast, but I have been listening to Assassin's Creed, and I'm really enjoying it. The little nuances of the world and the things that you can hear when people are going past, and so I am just really enjoying it at the moment. I'm staying in the very first kind of area, trying to go to all the towers, unlock everything that I need to unlock, and just really kind of doing a lot of the side missions and really enjoying it. It's just it looks stunning. I was playing it on the Xbox One X on the 1080p TV, and it looked incredible. It looked fantastic. I was like, this game is just amazing. Like elbowing Nicola going, look at this game is amazing. And then when she was off of the big TV, and that's one thing I love about this generation. So I'm sitting there playing on the smaller TV, enjoying Assassin's Creed, it's looking amazing, and then so Nicola's like, I'm off to bed. So all I did was I just shut down that Xbox, grabbed another controller for the other Xbox, turned that on, and then I have it in 4K, my saves are downloaded, and I just pick up where I left off, but now I'm in HDR and 4K. And I was just like, and I thought, this is, I'm talking to my house with Alexa, I've got cloud saves, and I said to Nicola, I was like, this is the future, let's take a moment, because we are in the future. I'm turning my lights off by just telling my house I'm going to bed, my lights are going off, it's that sort of stuff, I was like, we are in the future right now, that's...
The future's real. The future's
real, and it's now, and cloud saves is part of that, but it was so nice just, like I say, playing it on the small TV, and then transitioning to the big TV, and just my saves were instantly there. I didn't have to mess around with memory cards, and because it's digital, I didn't have to mess around with discs or anything like that, and it's really good. So I can see me kind of putting a lot of time into this game, but already I like the character, I know what I'm doing, the controls feel just natural. The only thing that I did have to swap is that the melee buttons and the combat buttons are on the shoulder pads. So it's like RB, LB, RB, so I had to swap those around, because I kept finding myself trying to jump and doing things that it was just all a little bit kind of backwards. So I changed those, and once I changed those, it just now feels very fluid. It feels like when you're playing Zelda or when you're playing Horizon, after that first couple of hours, the mechanics of the game just click, and this is doing this. So if I have to call in my camel, I know I need to do this, do my bird, this is the kind of drone spotter, it's all just natural when I'm playing it. And one of the things that I really want to do is, because I am enjoying it so much, is I want to just keep playing Assassin's Creed. And I know that sounds stupid, but we do flit from kind of game to game, so I want to kind of get mainline story Assassin's Creed kind of out of the way before Boomerang sends me Monster Hunter, which is kind of my next game. So I just kind of that's my goal.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's one of the next games that they do send me out, because that is one of the games that's sat at the top of the list. But I'm glad to see that it's been so well received, because sort of Assassin's Creed were one of my sort of comfort blankets that I could, like, I didn't necessarily say they were good games or, you know, they did something different, but it was one of them that I could just go and play, you know, when they were bringing out every year, and I could just sit and play that, because, you know, they'd got a formula that worked. You know, it wasn't anything new, necessarily groundbreaking, and it was just, you know, the same thing in a different setting, but I liked that. But I'm glad to see that they've gone away, and this year, 2 years that they've had off has paid dividends, you know, to be at the sort of the first games to come out that are 4K compatible, you know, make use of that new technology, and, you know, have refined sort of things, you know. And again, I know they've kind of got the loot box or whatever, you know, the microtransactions in there, but, you know, they've changed the combat, they've changed, you know, they've taken things on feedback on board, and it's good to see. So, you know, I'm glad to see it's back, and I hope that it kind of follows suit, that they don't bring another one out this year, because I don't want it to fall straight back into, we've nailed it now, and then we'll just bring another one out year in, year out. So,
yeah, it'll
be interesting to see where they go, because there were a lot of suggestions that they were getting close to the future or to present day, weren't they? When after Syndicate, when they went into Victorian times, you know, they thought it was going to get a bit closer to sort of the present day. But it'll be interesting to see where they go after Egypt. That'll be interesting to see where they go now. I mean, is this sort of still linked to sort of present day in sort of the Templars, the Animus, or is that kind of died a death now, or is it briefly mentioned still? I was like,
so far in what I have played, they haven't kind of done that bit where they go to the Animus or go to that, you know, lab where they have. So I haven't seen that bit yet. So if it does, when you die, you have that. The loading screen is that it almost looks just like a virtual reality landscape, and you're just running on it. So then when you know, as it just all dissolves back in, so you're getting that again. But so far, from what I've been playing, I haven't had a cutscene, or it hasn't kind of taken me into that. So I'm hoping it does, obviously, because then it will follow suit. But whether it does the Templars, you know, Origins, kind of, you kind of assume for the title that hopefully it will maybe be the Origins. I haven't got that. I haven't got that wrist blade yet or anything like that. So there's this, and it is really interesting because I was perched. I did this mission where you had to go into caves and there was bandits there, and I was level 3 and I think the bandits were level 4, and I was just perched on the end, and I'm looking down, and then one came out and I just leapt on it. So you had the Y, a bit like Batman, to take down, and I did that, and I thought that was enough to kind of kill him, but he just kind of popped back up, and I was like, oh, I'm not strong enough. Yeah, exactly, because normally that would be it. It would be a takedown and you'd be done, but he kind of popped back up and then started to kick me, and I was just like, no, ran away. Right, yeah, exactly. Ran away and ran back up so I could jump on him again, and it was just so that was quite interesting. The fact that it's almost like kind of Borderlands or like Destiny. It's like, if you're not leveled up, don't go anywhere near this area. You know, if you're not beyond that level, then you're going to have a tough time. So I'm enjoying that, and like I say, stunning looking game, and it's absolutely fantastic. The other game I've been playing, talking about stunning games, the other game I've been playing is Monday. Monday we had the 4K patch for Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon 3 was released, and last night a bunch of us, James, Manny, and a bunch of guys, we all kind of jumped on, and we had a kind of a really good kind of multiplayer session that was kind of, it started off being maybe a couple of hours. I think we were still playing at midnight, and a school night as well, which was, you know, which is crazy. But it was just, that game. It was so good, to be back into Forza Horizon 3, because as much as I love Forza Motorsport 7, it just, Forza Horizon 3 just ticks all of the boxes. You know, you can drive the Warthog. You can, in my canon Warthog, which is got SpongeBob plastered all around it. It's totally canon. And so you have this. So you have the you got the Warthog. You're rolling around different terrains. Yet now it just looks incredible. It looks jaw-droppingly stunning. I mean, this, if anyone kind of came around to my house and said, "Oh, show me what 4K gaming is like," this is what I would do. I would put Forza Horizon on and drive them down to the beach or the Hot Wheels track and just say, there you go, that's 4K gaming for you, because stunning. It's absolutely stunning. You know, it was just, you just sit there like, for the first 20 minutes, I think it was James and I, and maybe I think there was Steve, another Steve. You'll have to fight him for your name.
Ooh.
There was so we were like, we were just like just looking, you know, just looking around, and it was just so good. You know, you're just there like, wow, look how sharp those edges are. Look at the foliage. Look at the sky. Look at the sea. You know, it was just all of that sort of stuff. It was amazing. It was just absolutely stunning. And there was one point where we're driving in the rain, going through the forests, and I think I crashed because I was just too busy looking
at the rain.
Looking at how good my Warhog looked in the rain, and it was just, you know, and it was just stunning. So, you know, hats off to Playground Games for kind of releasing this patch for Forza Horizon, but also really kind of showcasing the power of the Xbox One X. I haven't seen what it's like at the moment on the 1080p TV, but no doubt I will. But, you know, Forza Motorsport 7 looks incredible in 4K HDR, but there's something about Horizon, something about that aesthetic, something about that world that just looks absolutely stunning. The sunsets and sunrises are just beautiful moments.
Yeah, and like you say, it just gives you something else, doesn't it? You know, your Forza Motorsport is your sort of your simulator, as it were, you know, the Xbox's answer to Gran Turismo, but, you know, Forza Horizon, like I say, I'd opt for that over the main Forza games, you know, like it just gives you some sort of, you know, the freedom, the entertainment, you know, more so the party and, you know, the you know, matching up with other people online and you know, going in a party with your friends. It's something else, you know, like you say, in the sessions that we had when it first launched, you know, the Hot Wheels pack and that sort of thing, you know, it's just gives you something else. And it's hard to think that game can look even better than it already does, you know, on just on an Xbox One S on a 1080 screen. You know, it's stunning. You know, it is a beautiful game, and it would be worth seeing it in 4K, you know, on a full 4K HDR TV, because like you say, that would be a system seller. Or it could be, you know, given its age, you know, even it's been out, well over a year now, you know, maybe, what is it, a year and a half, maybe something like that. That could just sell Xbox One X just based on how it looks, you know. So it'd be interesting to see as well where it goes next as well. So the fourth installment, you know, there's much sort of speculation already to see where the next one goes, but imagine that as well, you know. So it'd be good times.
But imagine Forza Horizon 4 is being built with the Xbox One X in mind. You know, I mean, this the port that we have here, or the patch, it was quite interesting actually, because the actual patch was only about 600 meg. So really? I was expecting gigs. So I don't know what craziness and wizardry they've done over at Playground Games. But yeah, there was like 600 meg, and it's just fantastic. You know, I watched a Digital Foundry article. There was a YouTube clip of the Digital Foundry. They're doing some analysis on comparing Xbox One X to a high-end PC, and it's almost just a few little nitpicky things. It's almost just the same. You know, it's there. There were just, I think the biggest gripe that they had on Digital Foundry was that on the PC it's running at 60 frames, and on the Xbox One X it's still locked to 30 frames. But apart from that, they were pretty much like, this is just neck and neck. You know, there's maybe, you know, those frames do kind of give you maybe a little bit more smoothness, but they just said that this is a beautiful port, and it really is. You know, it's just such a, it makes me want to play it more. I started looking at my achievements when we finished playing last night. I started looking at my achievements to just kind of see what achievements I've got left to mop up, to see if I can get like another couple of play sessions in. So it's fantastic. We played some Hot Wheels. We played some of the main area. The only area we didn't go to was Blizzard Mountain, so we didn't go there. So I want to have a look, see what that looks like in the snow, because I bet that's just jaw dropping.
Oh yeah, and like you say, it's, you know, the you know, just looking at the weather, you know, like you say, Blizzard Mountain, you know, if you imagine driving through the rain, imagine what driving through the snow will be like. You know, the warthog in the mountains with the snow. You know, a warthog's not meant to do that. You know, the warthog's not meant to be in the mountains. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's a brilliant machine, isn't it? The X, you know, and you know, as much as Sony fanboys hate to admit it, they must appreciate what Microsoft have done with that console. You know, like you say, to be nearly on par with some sort of high-end gaming PCs. Yeah, it's not at 60 frames, but truth be told, me included, a lot of people probably won't be able to tell between 30 and 60 frames anyway. You know, unless I was really, really looking, I could I could have either. But that power packed in a tiny console for maybe a half, maybe a third of the price of what some PCs might cost you. It is just an answer to PC gaming. And I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy to say, do you know what? It's the best I can get for that money, because a comparable PC you probably won't be able to pick up for $450, like the Xbox One's priced at, or the X's priced at. Sorry. So you are getting probably a bargain for that price, really.
Absolutely. I saw today, I think it was on Eurogamer or I was on Twitter, but Tesco's in the UK, a kind of supermarket in the UK, they have a deal at the moment where you can get the Xbox One X and 6 games, including Assassin's Creed, Forza Motorsports, Halo Guardians, some real good games, for about $449.
What?
I know,
really?
It was like, I was like, I'll buy another one. I'll have a third.
You could sell all that for more than you bought it for.
Yeah, but I was just like, it's kind of while stocks last is the caveat for that. But I was really impressed at that. So it's obviously, there was lots of games that maybe they hadn't sold over Christmas, but it was really impressive. That was a really impressive, like you say, and that's a quarter of what a decent PC would cost you, but you're getting the same results. And Manny, who has played Forza Horizon in 4K, played Gears in 4K for his PC, he was saying that this is just spot on. For what I think. I'm not speaking for him, but I think he might even have said it might have been a little bit better because he's now playing it on his OLED as well. So he's getting the extra OLED goodness as well, where he's playing on his 4K TV. So he was just, I think the Xbox One X would win over that, but we'll chat to him when he's on the show next.
Yeah, and that's from somebody who has both to compare against. That's interesting to see. Not just an article. To get somebody that that you can trust. It's good to have that first hand sort of hands-on knowledge. And a review, as it were. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what we've been playing. So let's jump into the news. But before we start the news section, don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast free on iTunes and YouTube. So let's start the news section. And in this week's news section, we go controller crazy with the return of the Duke. Could Fable be set for a return? And what does Nintendo have in store in their second Direct this month? The first piece of news is kind of with me, and I love all of these items that I've got. And it's the Duke controller is back. The big, mighty Duke. The thing that you need 3 hands to hold. The original Xbox One, the OG Xbox, I believe. The original controller is back. Seamus Blackley, the creator of the Xbox, has basically, I think he's been on a quest, and he has hounded Phil Spencer enough that he has been allowed to recreate the Duke, but for the Xbox One. And so they showed it off at CES. It's real, it's happening, and it will be available in the US, UK, and Canada for around $70 come this March. So it's $70 US, $50 roughly, probably about 60 something dollars, pounds roughly, and it will be coming out this month. In this March. So this controller, it's just big, it's glorious, and it's just coming. But the great thing about it is they showed it off at CES, and obviously anyone who had that original Xbox and had that big OG controller knows what I'm talking about. But in the middle of the controller, there was always this big Xbox sign, this big Xbox symbol. And what they've done is, in this new Duke that's coming out, it's basically like a little LED TV, and it plays the startup animation for the original Xbox. So that kind of, where it's pulsing and then it just comes and it just splits an atom or whatever it was that it did. It plays that in the middle of the controller.
I'd buy it just for that. I'd have it just for that. Can you imagine if they'd had one for the Switch or the PS2, or it played the PS1 startup or the PS2 startup or the GameCube startup? That I'd just be turning the Xbox on and off all the time just to see that every time. But can you imagine how much begging this guy's done to make this a thing? It was very divisive, wasn't it? The Duke control. People love it and hate it, and but I think it's a good thing to do. Why not? Why not bring it?
Yeah.
It's a nice bit of nostalgia. We're getting sort of more backwards compatibility in terms of original Xbox games that are coming to the Xbox One now. So why not get those games and play them on a Duke controller? Get on. It'd be nice if, like you say, it's going to be $70 US, whether it's, that equates to, like you say, less over here, but whether or not it's £70, so it's a straight conversion, I don't know. But I'd be tempted either way, to be honest. Just to have one. I mean, I've read up about it. Is it wireless or is it wired?
Looking at the screenshots that's in Seamus Blackley's Twitter feed, it looks like it has a wire. So I'm seeing a wire, but whether this is just a prototype, because where would it? I guess it would plug into a USB.
USB, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, I can't believe that Microsoft have signed on to this, that they've just said, yeah, okay, like I say, he's obviously just been emailing Phil Spencer, please. Yeah, I need this, everybody needs this. But yeah, I'm just looking at this article that I'll put a link in. It was a CNET article. I'll put a link in the show notes, but I'm just not seeing if it's wireless. Like I say, the images that I've seen from the prototype have a wire, but whether they will get rid of that when it goes live.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I'm guessing if it was wired, it's a bit of nostalgia, isn't it? Back to the day when we had a wired controller.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You could say it'd be good if it had that little, the little safety sort of disconnecting that the Xbox had as well. If you pulled the controller too far, that'd be quite cool if it had that again. Yeah.
If you rage, so it didn't pull your Xbox off the shelf, it just kind of broke
Still
that.
Still got a hole in the wall from the controller, but the console was fine. The console was safe.
Yeah, looking down this, all I can see is that the wired one of the prototype. So I'll have a look and see. But I'd say I'll stick a link to the show notes because it's a thing of beauty. I'm sure I still have some original Dukes in storage. I'm sure I've still got about 2, because I had 2 when it came out, and I'm sure I've still got those. But they are monsters. They are just incredible. And then they brought out the S, didn't they? They brought out the Xbox S controller, which was the smaller version, which I think came out with the Japanese release of the Xbox because they just needed that controller to be smaller.
They realised not everyone's got shovel hands like the Americans.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, okay, well, maybe we need to regionalise that. So that's the Duke controller. There's no date right now. There's nowhere to kind of pre-order. I haven't seen anywhere. I had a quick look round before we started to pod, see if there was like anything on Amazon or any website. But Hyperkin, they're manufacturing this, and like I say, it's going to be out in March, kind of mid to late March, and it's going to be roughly between kind of £50 to £70. So that's kind of one of my stories in the controller. The next one is that there's a new Xbox Elite has been rumoured. So the Xbox Elite controller, which I love, I just think is the best controller that I've ever played. There is rumours, and there was on NeoGAF, there was images showing a brand new Elite controller. So this may be kind of coming up for a bit of a reveal at maybe E3 or something like that. But this is like I say, a post on NeoGAF basically just had a whole load of images of this almost Elite controller 2.0.
And speaking of controllers that weigh a ton, this leads nicely onto this one, doesn't it? Because I had the Elite console with the Elite controller, and it's really good, isn't it? It's a real to say there's so many interchangeable pieces on it. It's a real solid bit of equipment. It's really well built, well designed, and none of it feels flimsy. Considered you can change the thumbsticks, the D-pad. It all. The magnets were strong enough to make it feel like they weren't detachable, but not so much that it was a struggle to get them off. So, from what I can see, the little refinements that they're bringing, sort of different thumbsticks and maybe sort of different profiles for different games. I mean, that was something that you could have, but it was locked away in the menus, I believe, with the sort of the original or the first one, shall we say? So it'd be better if you could it'd be better if you could switch it on the controller rather than having to go in the menu. So that'll be good. So for people that use the controller for different maybe shooters, for example, like Call of Duty, Overwatch, Battlefield, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's good to see them doing these sort of things. It just to be pushing sort of boundaries and technology to see what they can do, because I think it's going to have Bluetooth as well to use with PCs. So that's good as well. But yeah, it's nice to see them just doing something new, and yes, they've brought the X out, but to support it in this many ways as well, to expand the experience or improve the experience beyond just having a normal controller. It's a good thing to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, it's USB-C. It's rechargeable, so they have like little battery packs. There's going to by this anonymous source has said there's also a power indication, so you can see your battery life of the odd there. There's, as you were saying, there's 2 profiles at the moment on the Xbox. The current Elite controller, there'll be 3 on here, so they're upping that. And then there's a whole load of things about kind of different key travels for the paddles and things like that. I don't know about you, but the paddles were the first thing that I took off of my Elite controller because they got in the way, so I kind of took those off. But the rest of the controller is it's gorgeous. The way those little joypads just lock in, there's something nice about that magnet kind of just takes hold. There's a nice satisfactory clunk, and you, like you say, you never feel like they're going to fall out. You never feel like they're going to flip out or anything like that. It is just such a gorgeous controller. So that we have that. Like I say, it's all based on an anonymous thread on NeoGAF, but the images look good.
Nothing secret these days, though, is it?
No, exactly. some disgruntled employee or something like that, or someone who just wants to be cool on NeoGAF just kind of triggers this.
I'll have you.
Yeah, exactly. I've got all those pictures, but there was actually someone kind of holding it. It could just be a prototype. It could be a 3D printed one. But it's good to speculate on NeoGAF. I know you may have thought that 2 controller stories was enough, but no, there's a third. And this one I really liked because my biggest gripe, obviously I do have big shovel hands, I'm used to the Xbox, so my biggest gripe about the PlayStation 4 is the controller. I don't like the DualShock controller. Controversial, I know, because I know a lot of people. We were talking about it on a WhatsApp thread, and most people are like, you're ridiculous. This is one of the DualShock controllers, one of the best ones. But I don't like the aligning of the D-pad because I play so much Xbox. It feels weird having my 2 thumbsticks in line, and I end up, when I've been playing on the PlayStation, I end up cracking my thumbs a lot. But help is in hand for Anthony's cracking of his thumbs and
your arthritis.
yeah, my pending arthritis, and that is the Onyx wireless controller from Honrai. And basically this is going to be available, it should be available now, but Amazon have said that they put my order back. They said they haven't received their shipment yet, because I pre-ordered one, but so it should be available this week. And so this is, and again I'll put a link in the show notes to all of these controllers, but this is the most Xbox of Xbox controller for a PlayStation. So I think last year Onyx and some other manufacturers did some really good pro controllers, pro as in they look like the Nintendo Pro controller, but they were all wired. So that I'm no wires for me, it's too far. But they have now brought out one that looks like an Xbox controller. It's got those kind of not aligned thumbsticks, and it just looks lovely. The only the only downside of it doesn't have the light bar, so you wouldn't be able to play it if you were playing VR or something like that. But apart from that, this looks comfy, and I want it. And I've pre-ordered it. I think it was about $44.99 on Amazon. It was due to be shipped. It was due to arrive actually yesterday. But on the day of shipping, I got an email from Amazon saying that it's been put back. So they obviously haven't received their assignment yet. And it's not available anywhere else either, I think. So it's just kind of Amazon. But it looks lovely. It looks absolutely superb. And it looks like I can't wait to get hold of this.
And it's got the trackpad as well. So for a non sort of official but a genuine licensed product to have the trackpad as well. These sort of things aren't included in sort of licensed controllers or sort of third party peripherals, are they? Like you say, the light bar's not on there, but just the fact that they've given their technology clearly to a third party to work with is something quite good. I mean, I agree with you. It's a comfy controller, but the triggers are too slippy in my mind. The triggers are just not as, I don't know the right word, not comfortable, but user friendly probably is the most sort of best description. They're more slippy because the plastic that they're made from, they're quite sort of, you find your fingers slipping off them. So I must admit I do prefer the Xbox controller. But yeah, it's nice to see that again, just doing different things, making it, it's kind of saying, if you've got an Xbox, you prefer the controller, you use this. It's been, like you say, it's the closest thing to an Xbox controller without being an Xbox controller. It's like the Pro controller for Nintendo is, it's basically the same, but just there with a Sony badge plonked on it. So yeah, but it's, why not? You know, like you say,
it looks really cool, doesn't it? It looks really lovely.
Yeah, it makes it more accessible, you know, and it's just as cheap, if not maybe a little bit cheaper than a DS4, isn't it? You know, than you know, in terms of its price. So you're not missing out much from. I mean, I don't know if it says in the brief or not. Does it have a microphone built in there like the DS4? I know it's got the trackpad, but I can't see anything about a microphone anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know if it has a speaker either, because, you know, like when you're playing Resogun or something like that, you hear stuff coming out of the speaker. One thing, I think the biggest kind of downfall for this is it doesn't have a headphone port. So similar to the DualShock and the Xbox controller, it doesn't have that headphone port, so which annoys me slightly, because I do like listening to playing games now that my newfound change. I've seen the light. I like kind of playing them with headphones because it just makes the sound closer, and especially when
beforehand that would have been an issue for you, the keen podcast listener that you are.
But I did find the other day, it was quite funny actually, the other day I was like messing around with my TV, and I found that my TV, I just hadn't played around with the new TV, I should have known it was there, but my TV has Bluetooth, so I can connect it to my Bluetooth headphones, so it's just really cool. And so I would just be able to kind of just connect, so you just connect up to the TV rather than the individual thing, so I quite enjoyed that, kind of having, it was quite funny because Nicola was watching TV and I popped into town and I could still hear, because I was just trying to disconnect the TV and connect my phone so I could then listen to music on my way into town. I could still hear like what she was watching on the TV, like halfway down our road. I was like, how the range of these headphones is incredible. I was like halfway down the road still listening to the Gilmore Girls. It was quite funny.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, if you can still listen to Gilmore Girls or not. It's like a blessing and a curse at the same time, isn't it?
Hey, don't knock the Gilmore Girls. They're awesome. I bloody love the Gilmore Girls. They're amazing.
This is another confession. This is another confession time for Chesson.
Oh God, Gilmore Girls is just such an amazing program. I love snappy dialogue, the West Wing, the West Wing. But the Gilmore Girls, fun fact about the Gilmore Girls is that their script is twice as big as any other script for a 1-hour TV show, because they talk so much.
Wow.
Steve, next story is with you.
For everyone, I'm just sat here shaking my head down the microphone, just like, because Anna's watched it, and I just sit there. Do you know, it's one of them things that I sit there and I'll watch for 10 minutes, and I'll realise I've sat there and watched it for 10 minutes thinking, that's 10 minutes I'm not getting back. And then I'll go back to what I was doing. If I'm just sat there reading, or I was playing the Switch, and she's like, you're watching it, and I'm like, I can't help it. Like, it's like, do you know when EastEnders is on or something, you know it's that bad that you end up watching it. Or like Jeremy Kyle on, as much as you say if you put Jeremy Kyle in the background, you'll end up watching it. And I think that's the same. But yeah, moving on. Let's move swiftly on. Anyway,
moving on.
Fable's coming back.
Fable?
Yes, Fable. The guys that, shut down, less than 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. According to Eurogamer, Fable is a new Fable game is being worked on. A big budget Fable game. They've sort of put emphasis on there. So less than 2 years since Lionhead's been shut down, they've probably realised they've made somewhat of a mistake, which I think everyone sort of cried inside a little bit, that the fact that Lionhead were being shut down and Fable might that might be the end of Fable, because it is. Microsoft's big it was one of their big sort of IPs, wasn't it? A big first party, RPG that they lost their way a bit. Fair enough, with sort of Fable Adventures, was it? That was the Kinect game. I can't remember if it's.
Yes, it was. I think it was Fable, because you had Fable Legends as well, didn't you? Which was the free-to-play multiplayer game.
I can't remember what it was called, the Kinect one, but yeah. So, they went a bit weird, admittedly, but it's nice to see them back. But being developed by Playground Games, the guys behind Forza Horizon 3 and the previous games. So imagine that, what we've just been saying about what Playground can do with, Forza Horizon, a 4K HDR for Fable, with their talents, with their engine built, for the Xbox One X. It will be something, something beautiful. So,
yes.
And as much as Fable was, driven by Lionhead, it might be interesting to see what, Playground can do. Giving it somebody different, see what ideas they can come up with, and whether or not sort of the ex-Lionhead employees have been recruited by Playground to work on it, I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. It's it's interesting to say that Microsoft said in a statement it doesn't comment on rumour or speculation, which is just the way of saying, yeah, we're working on Fable. It's the
you caught us.
Yeah. Another one slipped the net. It's they say the age old cliche of not, sitting on the fence. Being very non-committal. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens, because it was brilliant, Fable. It was an RPG, but it gave you something different. As good as the world looked, it wasn't a more serious game in terms. It was a bit more cartoony. The graphic, the art style was a little bit more. It was a good art style, but not sort of the likes of The Witcher or Oblivion or Skyrim. It was still a little bit cartoony and a little bit sort of relaxed in that sort of sense. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with the caliber of games that they can pump out at Playground with the Forza games, to be trusted with Fable to revive that series. What they can do with that.
And I think Playground games are, I think the only other studio that could have had this or should have had this is Rare. It's either Playground. You need an English developer on Fable. You need that humour. You need that kind of love for Monty Python, love for kind of all of those kind of that kind of slapstick humour that it had. Fable made me chuckle out loud when I was playing it a lot of the times, and I think Playground games would be the perfect developer to do that, because they have just spun up another studio, haven't they? I think there was rumours just after the last E3 that they'd spun up another studio. They're hiring in Leamington Spa. They're hiring about 200 people, and they did say they were working on an open world game. So it just, all the stars are aligning, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, it seems it's in albeit sad circumstances. It seems that it was supposed to happen, because if you read through the article, it does say that Playground expressed an interest in working on a Fable game. So it's sad to see that couldn't have happened with Lionhead still being a thing. It had been those two studios together. Lionhead, you work on the story, we'll work on the setting. The background and the vistas and that sort of thing. Like you say, it needs to be an English studio that works on Fable, because 90% of the characters in the game had an English accent or a stereotypical Cockney accent. But like you say, it's that humour, it's that British humour that drove the game. It seems like a silly thing to say, but humour from America to England is very different. If you sit and watch a sitcom from England to America, the humour is, one will make you, we're used to the humour here, that'll make you laugh, whereas you appreciate the humour from America, but it's not necessarily a laugh out loud sort of thing. So it'd be, like you say, it would be, again, interesting to see what they could do with an American studio behind it, but it's good to see them keeping the talent in the UK, and keeping Fable's roots, alive, and seeing what a different team can bring to it.
Yes, it would be really interesting. I wonder if we'll get some kind of teaser or just the splash screen or what the game is called at this year's E3. Yeah. The Fable Journey, that was the name of the Connect.
Fable the Journey, that was the one. Yeah.
Fable the Journey. There you go. It's just hit me, because I remember the E3 demo with that guy it was just, I used to love the only thing that I will miss about a new Fable coming out is that we won't have Peter Molyneux. Because I just loved, Fable. I want to talk to you about Fable. And it's just like, I love Peter Molyneux so much. He was crazy. He's like the crazy uncle, but he's just amazing. And I love his vision of things. I remember his whole pitch for the original Fable just kind of had me in awe, and I wanted to play that game, but you kind of knew that you would only get 50% of what he was pitching right now. But let's just say, if that is true, and I think Eurogamer kind of cite that they've got some good sources, don't they? I think they're kind of quite. If that's true, if Playground are working on that would just be, like I say, the reveal of that will be amazing, because what they've done with Forza Horizon is stunning, in 4K. So we're now, you're now thinking we've got a Fable game coming in 4K to the Xbox One X, maybe in a couple of years' time, but that's just something to look forward to.
Yeah, and there's it's worth waiting for, or it will be worth waiting for. It's not a bad thing to wait for that game. So it'll be maybe even an Xbox 5 or whatever we get next. Whatever number they pluck out of thin air. It might be a next gen console. We don't know, but we'll see. We'll see.
Wow, that's just that's just. I mean, and that's what Xbox needs right now, isn't it? It needs those. It needs those IPs,
something.
new and old. We need Halo. We need. We've got Sea of Thieves coming out very soon, and we've got the closed beta of Sea of Thieves coming out very soon. And I will be over that weekend. I think it's kind of the weekend of the. Is it the 20? James will kill me for not remembering. I think it's the 24th to 28th. I think there's like about 5 days of the Sea of Thieves beta. I will be taken to the seas. Are you in the beta, Steve? Are you in it?
Not knowingly. No, I've not signed up for it, which is James will have me for that.
Yes.
It's something that I've meant to do because it's going to be a great game. It's going to be. It's just it's. Rare sort of Lionhead. They've got that humour, they've got that pedigree. They've got that sort of. They've nailed the humour, the art style, that sort of thing. So it's definitely something that I will be picking up. But no, I need to get on the beta. I need to get on that, see what it's like, get a flavour, get excited, and get ready to, like you say, take to the seas and live the life as a pirate.
Yes, indeed. If only we knew someone that could get you a code. I wonder. Thomas,
where are you?
Sort this man out.
Yeah.
Sort this man out. But as I was saying, what I'll be doing over that weekend, I aim to play a lot of Sea of Thieves over that kind of closed beta. I've been playing in the alpha, but this is time where you can finally start taking some screenshots of the craziness that's happening. You can stream. I may even start streaming on Mixer or something like that. I've been chatting to you guys like Manny and Matt and James and trying to get maybe do a bit of a mixer, because the great thing about Mixer is that we could do all four of us streaming at the same time, and you can just see how crazy that would be. But I love the idea of that co-stream via Mixer, so I'm going to start tapping the guys and see kind of who's around that kind of that weekend, and that would just be fantastic. But I will be kind of jumping on, so if anybody wants to kind of jump in and take to the high seas with me, then I will be kind of on mic, headphones on and on mic, because I really I just want to play this game. I've just been looking forward to this like closed beta, and it's aligning quite nicely. Apart from Saturday night, I'm going to be pretty much home the rest of that weekend and that Friday, so I really kind of just want to jump in.
Yeah, can you imagine if we could do like a podcast or record somehow from Mixer playing Sea of Thieves? Imagine that.
I want to do that so much. I'm sure that is an idea that I pitched to James. I was like, I want us, all five of us, to just jump on a ship and just, because last time when we played, I got told off by James because I wasn't doing my tasks. I think
he runs a very tight ship, literally.
Yeah, he does. But I'll tell you, SS Thomas, the good ship Thomas, it's a tight ship. I'll tell you, there was one bit where I was, I think I was just looking around because the game is gorgeous, and which we'll be able to share a bit more of later. So the game is stunning, which obviously we'll be able to share with where the NDA's lifted. But I was looking, typical me, I was just kind of looking around, and like Thomas is like, "What are you doing?
Scrub the decks.
Do this." Yeah, exactly. I think the anchor, they were waiting for the anchor to be put down, and I didn't put the anchor down, and we just sailed into rocks. Past, yeah. We just went straight into rocks. So I got told off by Thomas, and it was quite funny. But it's such a great game, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yes, closed beta. There's about 5 days of the weekend of the 27th, 28th. So like the Friday through to the Monday, I believe it is. So yeah. So Chessman UK. No, I'm Chessman on Xbox. If you want to jump in and kind of take to the seas. Yeah. So there, I can't wait for that.
Let's make it happen.
Yes, indeed. And I do want to do something, because we haven't really streamed on Mixer from the Lost Spark Pod. I would love to just do like the 4 or 5 of us, get everyone there, and just, because I think you can do 4, can't you? And you can just kind of switch between. I'd just love to just kind of get people on that, and it would just be so funny.
Yeah,
I'm sure James is
thrilled
up
at the prospect.
Yeah, it's like, hold up, this is like work.
Yeah. I don't enjoy it anymore.
I don't want to work, but it's I will be annoying you guys to try and get that done, so we can do that. But yes, so it's good to have Fable back, Sea of Thieves, and as I was saying before I went off on my Sea of Thieves tangent, we just need some. I think Microsoft need Crackdown, they need Sea of Thieves, they need Fable and other Halo. We need Halo back. Surely we'll get a Halo this year.
Yeah, it needs some big hitters, doesn't it? We need some sort of something to power E3, like you say. Well, I mean, when Halo Guardians, that come out at the start of the Xbox One's life cycle? So what's that now? 2-3 years ago. So yeah, so it's it'd be interesting to see this year. Well, for everyone really. If a Nintendo included, see what they've got in store for us this year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just fact checking on when Halo 5 Guardians came out. 2015.
Oh, so 3 years this year. Yeah. So
3 years this year.
So you'd think if not by end of this year, start of next year. You'd think, wouldn't you? Between 3 and 4 years, you'd think it'd be coming our way soon.
I really hope. I'm longing for a bit of Halo.
Yeah. Beyond Halo Wars that we got recently, which was a good game, but it's not really properly Halo, is it?
It's a really good game, actually, and Halo Wars is now available in the Games Pass. You know, the Games Pass, from the start of February, Halo Wars 2 is joining Games Pass, as well as Fable Anniversary, the Xbox 360 remake of Fable.
So there you go. Get on the Fable hype.
Exactly. I'd love that to be remastered for Xbox One X.
Yeah, that'd be good if they could make it compatible with. I mean, that's a good thing about the X, isn't it? There's so many 360 games that are going to be functional with the Xbox One X, which just gives you added reason to buy one if you didn't have enough reason to buy one already.
Absolutely. And then continuing on the rumours and speculation hype train is there was rumours and speculation that Lego TT Games are working on a Pixar Incredibles 2 and also DC's roster of comic book villains. So there's 2 games in being made right now. One is Incredibles. So this is a rumour, again, all kind of rumour and speculation, take with a pinch of hype sort. But in Incredibles 2, just in time for the movie, we've got Incredibles 2 is coming out this year. So an Incredibles, Lego Incredibles game, and also a Lego DC villains game.
2018 can finish when these 2 come out.
Exactly. Done. That's it. I'm done.
Yep, get both top 3 games of the year. Lego Incredibles, Lego DC, then space at the bottom for something else.
Exactly. And then reading the article that again was posted on the excellent and awesome Eurogamer, they also said that because Incredibles is due out in June, I believe.
Yes,
I think the
Pixar
movie is coming out in June. We're also going to get physical Lego Incredibles sets as well. So I need a Lego's Incredible. I'm getting a 3rd Lego shelf for the movie room. So we're kind of, the movie room is moving on slowly.
Slowly upgrading.
Slowly, the insurance company are they're playing ball. So I'm thinking about we're doing some redesigns. I'm thinking about getting a 3rd Crowball shelf that I've got my Lego shelves, and I want the Incredibles. I think having the Incredibles on that would be incredible.
Literally.
It would just be, yes. So having, when I first read this, I thought it was going to be maybe a Lego Pixar game, and that mind blown. You imagine just kind of having a collection of those games, but then I thought, no, it's better if they just keep it to the Incredibles, maybe kind of a bit of 1, a bit of 2, and yes, sign me up. So no word yet. I'm guessing all of these are kind of going to be saved for E3, etc. There's only 150 days until E3, so we could start hyping that already. But like I say, so TT Games currently, rumours are that they're working, and this was from comicbook.com and Eurogamer, that they're working on Incredibles 2 and also comic book villains.
Yeah, can you imagine if they did like a Suicide Squad Lego, something similar like that, not necessarily following the film, but having all those villains together. Because again, TT Games, they're brilliant at writing scripts, they're brilliant at writing games, again, it's the English humour, isn't it? The writing and the dialogue that they put in there, and the references, the references they put in there, just a general culture, beyond the worlds that they're setting. So yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of any Lego game. They can get a little bit samey, at risk of saying it. So the games that they bring out, they can sort of again follow the same formula, but this is kind of something new, isn't it? The Incredibles never been done before. DC just solely villains. They're the Marvel superheroes, so it kind of flip side of it a little bit. But yeah, bring it on. I'm happy. Just give me all that. I'm happy with that.
like I say, all they have to do is the Suicide Squad or Legions of Doom. If they do the Legion of Doom, you've then got Lex Luthor, Bizarro, Sinestro, all of these people that end in O. You've got all those villains that you could just kind of just really have fun with in those kind of sandboxes. So yeah. So when I read this, I was very excited.
All sorts of happy.
Exactly. Colour me happy.
Yeah.
So the last piece of news, sir, is with you.
Yeah, and we're kind of breaking news. I don't know if it's breaking news or preemptive breaking news. But just shortly before we decided to record this evening, it's Nintendo sprung a Nintendo Direct on us for this evening. So that'll be going live as of recording at 10 o'clock this evening. So I'll be keeping my little beady eyes on that when we've finished. Advertised as bringing a new interactive experience for Nintendo Switch, specially crafted for kids and those who are kids at heart. So it's going to be something in that wording. It's going to be something like that. It's clearly going to be one thing. It's not going to be several games like we've had this month already. But what is it going to be? That's the thing, because we've already seen this month that Nintendo have confirmed they're not working on 4K, they're not working on VR. So what have they got in store for 2018? Because yes, they've had a brilliant year last year, but I think they've admittedly, I think I saw this in the news recently, they've admitted themselves that this year will be a great year for the Switch. If they don't have a good 2018, that will be it. And I think it's right. I think they're right. I think, like you said, much like Microsoft, they need big games. Nintendo needs something this year. We've kind of been bandying ideas about in our WhatsApp group. Virtual console, does that fit the bill for design for kids? Not really. There was a Virtual Boy 2.0 thrown about, but again, they're not working on VR. So, my theory stroke suggestion would be it's going to be some sort of TV sort of movie stroke game tie-in. So, like they were trying to aim for like Quantum Break, or the Halo sort of TV to game sort of crossover that Microsoft are aiming for with that as well. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe Nintendo are bringing some sort of TV series out based around their franchise, like Mario, Rabbids. Maybe they're going to bring something out for Pokemon. Maybe it's a Pokemon. Maybe it's more like Pokemon Go, but for the Switch, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's something that you can, if it's got to be something that the kids are getting in, that are into, and sort of Pokemon Go. That was a big thing last year. So maybe it is the Pokemon game. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're thinking too big in terms of sort of hardware or peripherals. Maybe it is the Pokemon game. It could be anything. But yeah, as always, they're quite cryptic, but they're very clever, aren't they? They'll just spring these things on us that, boom, we've got a Direct for you tonight. And I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
We know E3 is a big thing and we know it's coming, but just give us something out of the blue. Boom, we've got this coming. If Microsoft and Sony started doing that, suddenly next week, Halo's coming out next year. Mic drop, just a little screenshot or something, just something to get you going, because as silly as it sounds, those sort of little teasers, those little snippets of information that we get, it gets people going, it gets excitement going, it gets people invested again. So we'll see, come 10 o'clock this evening, by the time we've recorded and recording again next week, we'll know what it's about. And have some more details, but what's your theorem about Nintendo this evening?
I don't know, because when they say specially crafted for kids and those who are kids at heart, could they be talking about games to life?
I don't know. It's something in that wording, isn't it? It's something in that wording. It's that we've had the sort of the Amiibos, and it's they're a brilliant thing, but whether it's something a bit more expansive on that, again, like, you don't know, do you? It's just with the Switch being portable, it's, the Amiibos are not really a thing for portability, are they?
No. You're not going to carry around a whole bunch of toys for life in your bag,
so
are you?
When they said, you can use them on your 3DS, it's like, well, yeah, but you're not going to carry a bag just so you can plonk it on the 3DS. So it's
There'll be me on the train in my suit, and then with a whole bunch of Amiibos on the train table when I'm playing
Sadly,
that game.
Something you can't carry digitally, Amiibos.
No,
just like
no.
like one of those typical where you just open the side and there's just like a pocket full of like a just line of Amiibos in the inside of it.
What a great idea! Inside my suit jacket, patches on the outside, inside Amiibo saved
That's
in.
a true hipster jacket, that, isn't it?
That is, that's something James would wear, definitely. He'd have Luigi on the back, and he'd be happy. But yeah, so maybe Toys to Life. I mean, like I say, I think you and I kind of jumped instantly on maybe Virtual Console. And that is just, new way of playing, some kind of hardware. It just sounds very interesting. But I love the fact that the Nintendo, like I should say, they do get us engaged in conversation. They do get us chatting and talking about this.
Yeah, and like I say, getting people talking about your console or your game, that's what you want. You want people, because hype naturally builds. If you just give somebody a little bit of fuel, it'll go. Hype is a massive thing in the industry, and I know it's got to be kind of contained in what you deliver on in the end, but you've got to give somebody something to go on. So even if it's just a case of, like say, for example, if it is Pokemon, we're working on Pokemon, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to be about, and we'll give you another direct more information next month. Boom. You've got all those people talking about a Switch. You've suddenly got people interested in buying a Switch just because Pokemon's coming out for it. Pokemon is a system seller. People still buy DS's, 3DS's, 2DS's, whatever variation you buy for Pokemon games. I've already said, and I'll say it again, if you were able to get all the old Pokemon games on the Switch, I'd buy them all on the eShop.
Yeah.
It is that sort of caliber game. So, but yeah, we'll see in just over an hour now. We'll see what happens. But I'm glad Nintendo do their own thing. I'm glad they have some sort of presence at E3, but I'm glad they do their own thing like this, because it gives you something throughout the course of the year. Even if they only did 4 Nintendo Directs a year, it gives you something. Because once E3 is gone, it's kind of like, oh, we'll do something at next E3, but no, Nintendo have always got something to keep you going on. So like I say, we've already had one this month, with Tropical Freeze coming out to the Switch, and, some more information about Kirby. So, they're really making a conscious effort to make 2018 a good year, and rightly so. Why not? They've been outselling the Xbox, they've been outselling the PS4, so just take that and run with it, we don't need powerful hardware, we don't need massive technology to sell a console. We've got the strong IPs, we've got the franchise, well, not necessarily the franchise, but we've got the first party stuff to sell this console. So just go with it, run with it.
What can it be? I will be refreshing that page. We can't even put a link. We'll put a link to the direct when it happens, because we'll be putting the page together like tomorrow and stuff like that. So we'll put a link to it then. But
bring it on. See what it is.
Yeah. It can't. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have seen I've been on a tube, and I've seen someone playing VR on the tube, and I thought that was just awesome and funny at the same time, where you just had someone had whatever it is, kind of Google Glass, not Google Glass, but the Android version, the Samsung one. Yeah, they had that on the train, and I just thought, this is great. You either, people were kind of like making gestures towards him, like as much as they look at him, but he didn't care. He was on the tube in another world, being kind of
anything to get you away from being on the tube, Yeah. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah. So he had everything around him was stolen, but
he couldn't see it
because he couldn't see.
Joke's on you.
But he had no pants on, but it was just he was having fun in VR. But no, it was just so VR would be, like you say, would be incredibly, especially as the Switch. As much as it is a console, it's a console that you can take on the go, and VR doesn't really kind of lend itself to that, or a clunky peripheral.
Stick the Switch on your face. Can you imagine that? Stick that on your head. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
If you take the Joy-Cons off, maybe stick that on your face. But it's a big old thing to be putting on a sort of a headband or a hat, isn't it? Or something like that.
You genius! I didn't think about that at all. Yeah, that becomes your HMD.
Well, that's food for thought, isn't there?
It is. Oh, let's leave us pondering there with 1 hour and change to go until the... I will talk to you later via
and if
WhatsApp.
It's not that, I'm going to write to Nintendo and say, this needs to happen. I did it. Give me money.
Listen to this podcast. We want it called The Carter, and it's the... Okay. You imagine just having something that you just slot in. A bit like a Samsung Galaxy phone.
Yeah, but it won't be... No, it's just a lot bigger than a phone, though, isn't it? And like a 5 or a PSVR, it's a lot bigger than that.
Honestly, listeners, if you could just see his face pondering... He is in deep thought right now.
If Nintendo don't do it, I'm going to do it myself.
Exactly. Kickstart
it. A bit of cardboard, a hat. That's all you need.
Would it be like a Mario hat? that you put on.
Yeah, or a Luigi hat for James.
Or Luigi, Waluigi, if you're twisted.
Other Nintendo characters are available.
Yes. Oh my goodness, we're on to something here. Let's shut up because people will steal this. Right.
Somebody's doing it already.
Exactly. Right. And on this pondering note, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you all for listening. Thank you very much for joining me, Steve.
Thank you very much for having me.
Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook. On Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube and also the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Steve, where can people catch up with you?
So on Xbox Live, I am SteeCarter91. PSN, I am at Cartero. Spelling of that is CARTAO. And on Twitter, I _Carter91.
Excellent stuff. And for me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. That's about it. I'm going to go and sit and wait for the Nintendo Direct.
Just an hour and 10 minutes to go. We can do this.
Hour and change.
Yeah.
Right, catch you next week, guys.
Bye.